We were looking at the opportunity to combine kind of two major cancer treatment modalities, one being immunotherapy and the other radiation therapy. One of the amazing areas that we've made progress clinically in cancer treatments over the past decade has been the development of immune checkpoint inhibitors. And these work by helping to so-called take the brakes off an immune response, and basically allows a patient's immune system to attack their cancer. And so that works for many patients, but not all. In fact, not the majority. Radiation therapy, on the other hand, is given to about 2/3 of all cancer patients. So these are often being used in the clinic together already, but they're not necessarily optimized for use together. For most of the patients that get radiation treatment, they're receiving X-ray therapy, very high energy X-rays from a machine that generates X-rays and focuses them on a targeted tumor or an area that's at risk. This is a different approach that has been used over the course of many years. And what we're doing is taking a radioactive element and we're chelating or binding that to another agent that's going to be taken up in a tumor. And that allows us to then give that into a patient's vein. It will circulate throughout their body, but because of that selective agent, it's going to accumulate in tumor cells. And then over time, as that radioactive element that's bound to it breaks down, it emits radiation, but it's right in the tumor. So it's a very kind of focused way to use sort of biological precision to target radiation, rather than, we're not using a machine to target, we're using a biological agent to target it. Interestingly, we found that a relatively low dose of radiation, of a radionuclide therapy, was helpful in boosting the response to these immunotherapies, particularly immune checkpoint inhibitors. We want the radiation to essentially kill some tumor cells to provide additional capability for the immune system to better recognize that tumor. And at the same time, it helps to create inflammation, which brings in more immune cells. What we saw was kind of what I call like a Goldilocks phenomenon. You didn't want it too much or too little. If we gave too much radiation or too much of a radionuclide therapy, that will actually continue to give radiation over a long period of time and actually could kill immune cells that might be otherwise coming in to attack the cancer. If we give too little, we don't create necessarily enough damage to the tumor cells, not enough inflammation to help bring in the immune cells. And so a very interesting observation, because typically with radiation therapy, we're thinking more dose is better. But in this context, actually, a moderate to low amount was optimal, and going too high was counterproductive. And so we think that this can be very effective now to bring forward to patients, because it's a very low dose, a relatively safe low dose of radiation given to all the sites of tumor in a patient's body, because we're injecting this intravenously and letting it go to all the tumor sites. One of the really amazing aspects of the immune response that we generate with this combination treatment is that in preclinical settings, we can cure, for example, a lab mouse of its cancer, and then show by re-challenging it with that same cancer that we can no longer grow that. It's basically what we call in situ vaccination, where we convert a tumor site into basically a personalized vaccine against that cancer. And then the other advantage is we don't have to see the tumors we're targeting. Currently, with most forms of radiation, we have to see something like on a scan to target it, which doesn't really allow us to very well target like microscopic disease. But this can go kind of wherever the blood goes, which is everywhere in the body. Very happy to report, in part due to our manuscript, that we just got funding to do the first clinical trial of this approach here at the University of Wisconsin. And so that study will be opening. We will be carrying out exactly this approach to find out if we can achieve this same impact and benefit in patients who are getting immune checkpoint inhibitors. We don't know for sure that this will translate, but I'm optimistic. It's among the most potent effects I've seen. I wouldn't be surprised if it needs some optimization or tuning in patients, but we're well positioned to be doing that going forward now.